Spanish? Any
Sit.
Spanish speakers out there?
No.
You guys are alright. Lo siento. Yo no hablo español porque soy gringo. The gringos do not speak Spanish. I'm going to butcher some of these names. I'm trying really hard to learn, you know all the important stuff. Like on the left-hand side, you got a 64-ounce margarita over there, right? Margarita, tequila, cerveza, señorita, propinas, porque propinas is muy importante para buying margaritas later, you know. But a lot of Spanish culture, a lot of Spanish history. Back here on my right-hand side is kind of burnt orange umbrella. Boudreaux, one of my all-time favorites. Really good Tex-Mex to make you guacamole fresh at your table. You want Tex-Mex on the river? That's your best bet. If you want authentic Mexican food, go off the river to the market squares on Mercado, and they have meat out there. That's the most kind of authentic Mexican food we have. But about 80% of all the bars and restaurants are right back here behind me. That's called River Square. It's like the heart of the river. There's a lot of good choices in there. You want to go even further off the river, get good barbecue. Go to D. Willie's. D. Willie's got some phenomenal brisket. It's huge fan of barbecue.
Oh, it makes me hungry.
We're going for Greek food.
Well, stay here in the water. We have fresh caught duck every morning. And los patitos aquí es muy sabroso. The first restaurant down here on the river is this one over here on my right-hand side. This is Casa Rio. Put it back in 1946. So the river's been here for hundreds of years. You know, the Native Americans lived down here. The Spaniards got here like the late 1600s. A lot of German settlers in the 1800s. We didn't really have a river walk until Casa Rio kicked things off in 1946. After Robert H.H. Huckman stopped the flooding, and that made it possible to have stuff down here, and these guys opened up and started the whole idea of riverside dining. They started the water taxis, the tour boats, the dinner boats. These really blew up because of Casa Rio. And photo bomb these guys real quick. Everybody see you guys are taking a picture? Photo bomb, wait for it. You look back here behind me, these are called tourists in their natural habitat. They're beautiful creatures. You can always wave at the tourists, you know. I love the photo bomb tourists any chance when I get it. Never feed the tourists though.
Wow.
Take a picture of the.
I love this guy.
Now when the Native Americans lived here, the Payaya Indians lived down here, they called this river Yanaguana, which meant peaceful water, right? Calm water. All real shallow, real calm. The Spaniards arrived, the missionaries and conquistadors got here on June 13, 1691. Long time ago, probably before most of you guys were born. And the day the Spaniards got here, they held this big sermon to celebrate that day because June 13th is the feast day of St. Anthony, or San Antonio. That's why they named this the San Antonio River back in 1691. And one of the first things any group does when they move somewhere, historically, is always build a church. The Spaniards built the missions. The Alamo is the most famous mission, because of the very tragic but important Battle of the Alamo in 1836. We also have San Juan, San Jose, Concepcion, and Espada. All really old, really historic Spanish missions. We had a lot of German settlers move out here in the 1850s after Texas joined up with the U.S. And once again, the first thing to do is build a church. So here on my left-hand side, this big green steeple over here is the St. Joseph's Catholic Church. Opened up back in 1868. They actually imported stained glass windows all the way from Germany, which is a really big deal back then. They still hold a full church service in Germany, including a German choir. So kind of a cool little,
That's interesting.
German we have with all of our Spanish and German heritage. It was the Spaniards that really kind of after they named the river in 1691, they kept settling around the river, and the city just grew around the river. Eventually, in 1718, it took its name from the river, becoming the city of San Antonio 304 years ago. As a city, San Antonio is older than Texas. We are older than the country. We are one of the oldest cities in America.
Wow.
St. Augustine, Florida is the #1. We're catching up. We're going to beat one of these years, and we're going to read. You like on my left-hand side, the port side of the boat, that little statue is St. Anthony. That is San Antonio, the Padua. That is the namesake for the river in the city that we're talking about. And that statue is actually a gift to us from Portugal. Back in 1968, we hosted our World's Fair.
And it's
San Antonio is the patron
low bridge.
Side back there. Good question. So we're actually good spot to talk about too. We have a stop sign in front of us. We're going to stop here for a second. The stop sign right here makes sense. But this giant naked lady is a little Aztec lady looking up at the sky through a star that she's holding. It's called the Stargazer. It's a brand new piece of art, just got put in, actually it's not even finished yet officially. It'll be unveiled later this month. But if you look at the star she's holding, there's a little hole up there in that star, kind of off center. It's kind of cool. If you were to light up a laser with her eye going through the hole of the star and then follow the ball down the sky. It would actually point directly at nothing. That would have been so cool. I don't know why I didn't do that. That would have been so cool. But what a missed opportunity.
Just nothing.
Yeah, I'm a little hurt that none of you are going to warn me about that bridge. Everyone's going to watch me in my head. You guys are all looking up here, no one says anything. This next area up here is the River Center Mall. The shops at River Center. Another one of our ticketing.
Oh yeah, party. Yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah, we got
Shopping
lights
mall.
on the bridges. You got a lot of pigeons up there, so never look up with your mouth open. That's always a bad idea. So you'll notice these guys are not nearly as busy as our locations because these guys don't have Captain Nick. They're not Captain Nick. I don't know why you're trying to do this. It's the second largest mall in San Antonio. So this place is pretty big. We've got 3 floors. Got all these cool little bars and restaurants outside. We've got Hooters, Margaritaville,
Margaritavilles.
Dave and Buster's, Legoland, the Hooters up there. Good time.
Oh.
1.2 million square feet of
Why can't you go
shopping.
there?
You like Hooters?
We do have a Hooters actually, yeah. You want to stop? I get a discount for next year. I was going to wish. I'm actually saving a portion of my day. Up here on the left-hand side, we have San Antonio's largest poofy dress convention going on. Doing a great job. I'm just jealous that I didn't get into that convention. I tried really hard this if my dress wasn't poofy enough. Kind of a dead end back here, so we're going to do a little turnaround and head back out towards that main part of the river.
Oh, it's so
This is the mall
fun.
back here, guys. Between Tex-Mex and Mexican food. If it has yellow cheese, it's not Mexican food. You've probably been lying to yourself about that. If you want some really, really traditional, authentic, home-style Mexican food, back here behind me, a really cool little spot. It's called Taco Bell.
Oh my god.
I'm not even kidding though. There was a survey. Taco Bell was voted America's favorite Mexican restaurant.
Oh my
I read this
god.
like cry. I really did. So you know what was voted our favorite, America's favorite Italian restaurant?
Yeah,
All of them. So, I love America, I'm extremely patriotic, but we have got some problems with that. Definitely go check out Midieta. I know Taco Bell sounds pretty authentic with names like Gordita, Crunchwrap Supreme, Doritos Locos Tacos, you know, like secret family recipe straight from Mexico, just like all we do today, but definitely not the case, so don't lie to yourself. If you don't want Mexican food at all, no worries, we do have the Hooters back there, so you have plenty of options.
That's a sad.
I don't even know how you could possibly think that Taco Bell is Mexican, but they serve hot wings, serve chicken wings, and French fries. I don't understand. You're gonna try some kind of good, maybe not unique San Antonio, but some San Antonio favorites. Barbacoa for sure. Barbacoa, you know, sounds like a great meal. That's probably my favorite thing that I think you find everywhere here in San Antonio. That whenever I'm not here, I can't seem to get anywhere. Barbacoa breakfast tacos, big red.
Hey, I'm doing one.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys. So I have actually hit my head on this bridge before, so now I know exactly where to stand. I've learned my lesson hard way. You know, like back here, kind of behind me on my left side, you have a giant
Hey,
tower
let's go.
over there.
Let's take
That
a-
is the Tower of the Americas. Now, back when we built that thing in 1968, that was the
What?
tallest freestanding
Picture.
tower in the entire country.
Oh.
Does anybody know who won up this? Who copied us built taller? What's the tallest in the country right now?
Tower 1.
No. Yeah. That's what everybody guesses. That's what I always thought too, but we actually copied the Space Needle. So in 1962, Seattle hosted their World's Fair. When they built the Space Needle, it was very creative, very original, and we are not those things. So we just copied after our World's Fair built taller. So it was actually Carnival. We kind of deserved it. Las Vegas copied us. They built the Stratosphere, and that is now the tallest in the country. If you look at it, it doesn't look nearly as tall as ours or as Seattle's. I think just everything else is so big in Vegas, but ours is 750 feet tall. It's got a glass elevator, a rotating restaurant. You get a gorgeous view of the city. It's really cool.
Tower of America.
Yep, America's.
Now, one of my favorite, more modern points in history out here is this big white hotel up here on the left-hand side. This is the Hilton Palacio del Rio.
Palacio.
Hilton Palacio del Rio. Now, they built this one back in 1968. That World's Fair that I keep talking about. Because the World's Fair was a really big deal. That's kind of what put us in the map as a world-class, kind of tourist destination. Really kind of brought a lot of attention, a lot of tourists to our city. There were actually so many tourists coming out here that all the hotels in the area were sold out years in advance. So all the hotels were booked up way ahead of time. There's a huge rush to build new hotels. Now these guys hadn't actually started construction. There was no hotel there. But they saw the competitors selling out. They didn't want to miss out on the business. They didn't want to wait. They went ahead and they pre-sold every single room to a hotel that didn't exist yet. And that was kind of a bad idea. Now we only had 6 years. The World Fair was going to be here. We only had 6 years to get it built. There wasn't much time. So they found a contractor who said he could build the entire hotel, start to finish, in 5 years. They gave him a 5-year contract and left. And that was mistake number 2. They got back in 5 years. They expected the hotel to be done. The contract said it would be. And instead they saw that contractor never broke ground. He did nothing for 5 straight years. Wasted all 5 years. So of course they fired that guy. And they said, "I'm find a new contractor." But it was way too late for that. Nobody knew would even look at that job. They all said it was impossible to build anything that big in 1 year. They said it never had been done. It could not be done. There was no way. It was never going to happen. Until they met a man named H.B. Zachary. Now, he was fresh out of school, right? Texas A&M. He was a local. Not a whole lot of real-world experience. So he said, "Guys, I'll build your hotel in less than a year." They all laughed at him. He said, "No, really, me and my man, we're so confident. We're going to take the weekends off. We're not going to work weekends. And we'll get it done in time. It's free." And when they heard that, they all thought he was crazy. They laughed at him. He was the only option they had, and they were desperate. So they gave him the job anyway. Crazy or not, he actually got it done. When you look at the hotel here, the first 4 floors are built like a regular building. There's a foundation built on site. Every room above the 4th floor is a little cube-shaped unit. Little boxes built in a warehouse 8 miles south of here on the Sunday. They were knocking them out quick. Now, before the rooms left the warehouse, they were 110% done. You know, they had the paintings hung on the walls, the Bibles were on the nightstands, the sheets were on the beds. The rooms were check-in ready 8 miles away. They drove them up here, one time in the back of these big flatbed trucks, took a giant crane, and they stacked them right on top of each other as they were building all that warehouse.
Oh,
Huge
yeah.
set of Legos. They finished this entire hotel in a world record-breaking 9 months. They didn't work weekends. A little ticket booth back there, it's like 10 square feet of ticket booth. It took us a year and a half to build, like in 2006. This entire hotel took 9 months in 1968. Wow. That's a pretty incredible stuff right there. That's cool. And then up here we have La Villita, also pronounced La Village.
House.
La Villita was the very first little Spanish village built back in the early
Thanks,
1700s.
Ate.
A lot of really cool little village-style homes, little shops and restaurants. A lot of live entertainment up here in front of us. This is the Artisan River Theater. You guys have seen the movie Miss Congeniality, right? With Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
This kind of scene from Miss Congeniality. This little stage right inside the
Oh.
It was the perfect date scene, if you remember that.
Oh, here.
They're describing your perfect date at like April 25th. It's not too hot, not too cold.
Sandra Bullock.
For a light jacket.
This congeniality.
Kind of a chick flick, but I've seen Miss Congeniality way too many times. It's a work requirement, it's a job requirement that I watch Miss Congeniality twice a week.
Your head.
And also, in that scene for Miss Congeniality, the Selena Bridge, Selena, Cloak and Dagger back in the Rio. There's a really horrible Night Rider reboot, Night Rider 2000. Super cheesy. They filmed that back by the mall. There's this guy like jumping out of the mall into a car, Night Rider, but it was like there was a boat that just had like a little plastic car shell. It was bad. It was so bad. You gotta YouTube that one. That's pretty rough. You have the Briscoe Western Art Museum back here on my right-hand side. One of my favorite museums. I kind of nerd out on all this Texas history. If you are into that kind of stuff, definitely go to the Briscoe. Yeah, they have Santa Anna's sword on display. He was the infamous Mexican general during the Battle of the Alamo. That's a cool piece of history. They have Pancho Villa's last known saddle. A lot of really fun stuff back at the Briscoe. All right, once again, more tourists and photo bombs. Everybody is photo bomb these guys and all that stuff. How's it going, guys? I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure in the background of a lot of people's vacation photos doing something stupid. Speaking of stupid, nobody stand up right now. This is a really low bridge. I got my head pretty hard in that corner a couple years ago. That one. We're only going like 2 miles an hour, but it hurts a lot more than you think it would. Look at my right-hand side, your little island. If y'all look at the base of the island, this whole island is actually made out of the roots of that tree right there.
Oh.
whole island.
Look at that's not the duck's name.
It's really cool because the
Look,
island
that's
is
not the-
naturally heart-shaped. It's a heart-shaped, root-made island. It's nicknamed Marriage Island.
Oh.
They have a little bride and groom duck right there, you know, and white and stuff. It's supposed to be good luck. You guys get married back there, or engaged, or go on a cute little romantic boat ride. It's all good luck. We have over 250 weddings on a heart-shaped island every year. I made that number up. That sounds pretty good. That's pretty believable. I'm gonna roll with it. And that's a good question. So if things don't go so well for you back there at Marriage Island, if you don't have that famous Marriage Island luck back there, less than a mile away, that big red building, that's Divorce Island right there. That's the Bear County Courthouse. That one is not so lucky. They average about 249 divorces a year. You know, so I have no idea.
You also made that.
This is one of
also made
the
that.
successful.
Hey, no.
No, it's a bunch of them. I mean, I've had 3 weddings back there myself. This is a beautiful spot on the river here.
Yeah.
This building on my left-hand side is the Tower of Life Insurance Building. Got that beautiful American flag up there at the top. If you go like right below the flag, we actually have some gargoyles sticking out of the top of their doors. You look down here a little bit lower, right underneath the bottom row of windows, you got these pairs of ugly, evil-looking little faces.
Oh, yeah.
Put in there because the guys who built this thing were really superstitious. Now they believed that all of that would ward off bad business and evil.
There you go.
Which is funny because it's an insurance company. Full of lawyers and insurance agents, right? The real irony is they opened it in 1929. Who knows what happened in America back in 1929? Yeah, well done. This is seriously the first boat I've had in probably 2 weeks to get that right. Good job, guys. You guys are all getting life jackets now, man. I don't like this group. October 1929, the stock market crashed due to the Great Depression. So these guys spent $3 million building this thing. If y'all look back at it, it looks like a ship coming into the river. And you got the bow, the
It's sinking.
kind of angled towards the river. $3 million to build it. They opened up for 2 months and went completely bankrupt. They had to sell that entire skyscraper to the city for $240,000.
Wow.
Crazy good deal for the city right there. $240,000. We'll look at building now. I'm going to honk a horn as we come out of this archway in front of us. This is a boat horn. This is a very, very loud horn. So there's a heads up. Don't drop your phones in the river. I've seen that happen. Cover your ears if you have to. Got a horn in 3, 2, 1.
Nothing. I know he's.
I knew it.
You guys okay?
How many?
Yeah, good
How,
question there. So
I knew it.
The reason
How many of the history he's saying is truth?
The reason I have a light up here, this is a drawbridge style floodgate back here. So there's a drawbridge that will come up out of the water and it'll cut off the flow to this part of the river. It never floods inside that natural horseshoe bend. The lights lets us know that the drawbridge is all the way flat under the water right now. But what we had to do is we had to design this flood channel. It's 26 feet deep in the deepest part of the river. We had to put this here and implement the floodgate system because it used to flood really bad. On September 9th, 1921, we had a flood that killed over 50 people. You know, the Market Street Bridge is there in front of us. At the street level, the flood waters were so bad they were all the way up 12 feet over the street level. 12
Really?
feet over the top of that bridge. The water was crazy high. They came through with Robert H. Hudson. He was the chief architect that designed the system. The Army Corps of Engineers put it in place. The Army Corps of Engineers is bad. Now we control the level of water all year and let no water come in from up north or go out down south. And the 17-foot drop off down that way, so we kind of lower that flood like a big waterfall. Water just pours out with the southern part of the river and all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. We need to fill it up, we should let it in from up north and a waterfall up there, and it comes in from up there because the river is spring-fed by the Edwards Aquifer about 4 miles from here. So it's a very simple, very efficient system that kind of keeps the city safe. Now, all this fun riverwalk stuff, all these little bars and hotels that are built right down here on the water, that's all just kind of a very pleasant byproduct of us being able to control the water for the safety of the city. But the safety was really the primary concern. We just kind of lucked out that the riverwalk took off the way that it did. That's where all the really old buildings like here on my left-hand side, all the new stuff is right down here in the water. All the old stuff had to be built a little ways away from the river because they were anticipating all that flooding. This building on my left-hand side is the oldest Spanish church in Texas. Actually, the oldest Spanish cathedral in the entire country. This is the San Fernando Cathedral, opened back in 1738. If you want to go check that one out, it's really worthwhile, especially on a night like tonight. On Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at 9 o'clock p.m., they broadcast a laser light show on the side of the cathedral. Super cool, super free Super Friday. Check that out. It's like a little 30-minute history of San Antonio. It's called The Saga. It plays at 9, 9:30, and 10 o'clock, 6, 7, 9. A lot of great history up there in general. You know, before the Battle of the Alamo, General Santa Anna had 3,000 of his men lined up in front of the cathedral, and they raised the red flag of no quarter. He was trying to show the Texans, you know, there were 189 Texans defending the Alamo. He was trying to show that he had a massive army, and if they went to battle, they weren't taking any prisoners. There were no survivors. The defenders of the Alamo are spawned that famous come and take it flag in Dallas, Texas. So really, some cool history up there. It's important to watch.
That's nice.
There's a little tiki bar on the right-hand side called Hookman Oasis. A bunch of little skulls up there and the tiki pillars, those are actually sourced from right here in the river. We find those things just floating around. Yeah, it's kind of a cool vibe though. This green archway is the other floodgate. This is a guillotine style floodgate. The last one was a drawbridge. This one is a 3-ton steel door above your heads. It comes crashing out every Friday evening at 5:57. It really is a 3-ton steel door. We almost never use these things, only if it's going to flood. Or every other January, we'll close a boat and we'll drain out the entire river walk to clean it. Even though it's natural in here, it's only 3 to 4 feet deep. This is the main part where all the people are. So you find a lot of trash, debris, bodies, beer bottles, cell phones. Kind of crazy. We drain it, we clean it every now and then. But the bodies? Huh? So it's very rare. Since I've been doing this for about 5 years now, we find more. Well, we really do drain it. Yeah, that is true. We don't find bodies when we do drain it, but we do find the occasional body floating around here. we mostly find silverware. So the number one thing we find every year we drain is silverware.
Silverware, yeah, for sure.
Finish eating and throw their like spoons into the river. Or maybe end like a really long night, like on Friday or Saturday, the guys that want to wash dishes come dump all the stuff in the river. I don't know what the deal is. We find tons and tons of silverware. This past January, we found 46 of those electric scooters, those bird and lime scooters. 46 scooters. Really? That's like a mountain of scooters all piled up in the arena right now. That's crazy.
Wow.
I don't know if that means that 46 people rode in, or there's like one idiot that rode in every week on the way to work.
Your flashlight's on.
It's okay.
And unfortunately, guys, we come all the way back around to where we started. This is the Aztec Theater right here. I know, it's the hardest part of the tour. I mean, we laughed and we cried. My boss didn't even hear this time.
There you go.
I appreciate it.
River
I hope you had
walk.
a good time and you enjoyed the river. I know it's a little chilly and I'm sorry about that. I don't know if the heater ever kicked on. I had it set to on.
Oh God.
I appreciate you.
I think that heater over there is a failure.
Yeah, actually, so I want to try and get one of these, like one of those big ones they have at the restaurant. I want one of those in the middle of the boat. Wow, more tourists. Look at that. Wow. Those tourists are very excitable. That's the mating call for tourists. They're usually walking around looking for food.
Oh yeah, they're in line, huh?
I'm going to dock the boat somewhere over here on my left hand side. Once I find a little tie-down loop, I'll hop back on tie down. Hang tight for me guys, bear with me. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to stick around afterwards, ask away.
That was nice.
Make sure you have all your stuff. People leave things on here a lot. If you leave anything valuable on the boat, any cell phones or keys or wallets, you can always find them tomorrow morning on the website, www.ebay.com.
That's the.
And of course, for a job well done, you can always